Have you ever had one of those mornings? You wake up and there's just this hollow feeling, kind of quiet whisper asking, what's the point of all this? Wow. Maybe it just hit you today. Or maybe it's been this persistent hum in the background, that nagging sense that you're just going through the motions while, I don't know, everyone else seems to have unlocked some secret to purpose you somehow missed. If that resonates even a little bit, I really want you to know you are absolutely not alone in feeling that.
Yeah, and what's truly striking, actually, when you dive into the data is just how pervasive this experience really is. There's a recent Harvard survey, for instance, and it found that a staggering 58% of young adults reported lacking a strong sense of meaning or purpose in their lives.
58%? Wow.
I know. That's more than half, a clear majority.
So, okay, to put that in perspective, you could be in a room with 10 people and like 6 of them are wrestling with this exact same question. And here's the really, counterintuitive promise of our deep dive today. We're not here to tell you to just go find your passion or, wait for some grand magical breakthrough moment. If you're listening, you probably already tried that, right? And maybe felt even more lost when it didn't just magically appear.
Exactly.
Instead, our sources seem to reveal something quite different. Meaning isn't actually something you find. It's something you build. And the best part, you can start building it today, like right now, even if you have absolutely no idea where you're ultimately headed. So our mission for this deep dive is really to distill these actionable insights from the sources we looked at, to sort of demystify meaning and give you practical small steps you can take to begin constructing that sense of purpose in your own life. Because as we'll get into, this really isn't optional, is it?
It really isn't. Research, particularly from positive psychology pioneers like Martin Seligman, it emphasizes that having purpose isn't just some philosophical luxury. It's actually a basic human need for your psychological well-being. It's as fundamental as, say, having enough food or water or shelter. When it's missing, it leaves this profound void.
Okay, calling purpose a basic human need, that's a powerful claim. But, for many of us, that might still feel a bit abstract. What are the tangible, everyday benefits our sources highlight? Why is this so critically important?
Well, the benefits are incredibly robust,
Yeah.
Really far-reaching. People with a stronger sense of purpose, they consistently report lower levels of depression and anxiety. They demonstrate greater resilience when life, inevitably throws them curveballs. And here's a fascinating one. They even tend to live longer. There was one study, I think, in JAMA Psychiatry, specifically found lower mortality rates across all adult age groups for those who felt their lives were meaningful.
Wow. Live longer? Okay. What our sources suggest next really shifted the paradigm for me. They propose thinking of meaning not as some grand quest, but almost like a vital nutrient for your mind. Mm-hmm. And when you're deficient in it, everything just feels harder. Colors might seem duller, conversations feel pointless, and even things that should bring pleasure, they just feel like empty calories, like a temporary fix that doesn't truly nourish you.
And that brings us to a really crucial distinction that's often overlooked. The difference between meaning and happiness, that's about feeling good in the moment. It's fleeting, a mood. Meaning, on the other hand, is that profound feeling that your life itself, that has value and direction beyond just immediate gratification.
Right.
You can have all the pleasures in the world, chase every fleeting high, and still feel profoundly hollow inside. But conversely, you can go through incredible hardship in service of something meaningful and find deep satisfaction even in the most moments.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the key insight seems to be start with meaning, build that first. And when you do that, happiness becomes far more sustainable, like a more natural byproduct.
That's a great way to put it, yes. But if you only chase happiness without that foundation of meaning, you'll likely find yourself constantly needing the next fix, always searching for the next external source of pleasure. It's like building a house without a foundation. It just won't stand.
Okay, that distinction between meaning and happiness is crucial. And it immediately makes me wonder, if meaning is so fundamental, like you said, a basic human need even, why does it feel so incredibly elusive for so many of us? What are the biggest obstacles our sources identify? What gets in the way?
That's the heart of the challenge. Our sources point to several key culprits that often stand in the way. And, just recognizing them is truly the first step to breaking free and starting to build that sense of purpose. One of the most insidious ones is social disconnection. We are fundamentally social creatures. We derive so much meaning from our relationships, from our community. So when you feel isolated, that sense of purpose often just evaporates.
Yeah.
Studies, like those from social neuroscience, they literally show that social exclusion makes life feel less meaningful at a really deep psychological level. So if you've been feeling cut off maybe from a breakup, a move to a new city, or just that slow, silent drift of adult life where connections kind of fade, this directly contributes to that feeling of...
That makes perfect sense. It's like we're wired for connection, and when that's missing...
Yeah,
it's like a crucial circuit breaker is flipped. What else makes it so hard to connect with purpose?
Well, another major blocker is the intense societal pressure. The pressure to find our one true passion or some grand singular calling. And this, surprisingly, often backfires. Research from psychologists like Michael Steiger, who studies meaning in life, indicates that desperately searching for meaning can actually lead to less action.
Like trying to fall asleep. That's such a perfect analogy. I think we've all been there, right? Agonizing over our why, only to feel more lost.
Exactly. The harder you try, the more awake.
So if that intense pressure backfires, what kind of goals should we be focusing on then, according to the sources?
Right. Well, that leads directly into the third culprit, chasing the wrong goal. This happens when you pursue what, say, others expected of you or what society tells you want, rather than what truly resonates with your actual values, your core values. When we chase these external goals that don't really match our authentic selves, even achieving them can feel incredibly unsatisfying.
A hollow victory.
Precisely. It's that classic reaching the top of the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall scenario. Then the fourth factor often involves mental health challenges. Conditions like depression and anxiety, they can cast everything in this sort of meaningless light. It makes it incredibly difficult to seize purpose, even when it might actually be present. So sometimes addressing these underlying mental health challenges, maybe with professional support, is a necessary prerequisite before meaning take root flourish. It's hard to see the sun when the clouds are so thick.
And finally, what about just the constant noise, the noise of modern life? I imagine that plays a huge role in obscuring any sense of purpose.
Oh, absolutely. The fifth culprit is indeed modern life's relentless distraction. We are constantly, almost drowning in other people's highlight reels on social media. We compare our messy reality to curated perfection. And consequently, we risk losing touch with our own voice. The sheer noise of constant stimulation, the endless scrolling, the notification, it makes it almost impossible to hear what actually matters, to tune into our own authentic value.
Okay, those five culprits, the disconnection, the passion pressure, wrong goals, mental health stuff, and distraction, they paint a pretty clear picture of why so many of us feel adrift. But this brings us to the core, maybe revolutionary idea our sources highlight. What they tell us about building meaning is quite different from what we're often sold, as the research seems incredibly clear on this point. Meaning doesn't primarily happen through intense soul searching or, endless journaling about your why or waiting for lightning to strike and deliver some grand revelation. It emerges from action.
Yes, meaning is built through action, not simply contemplation. It's constructed through small, consistent choices that align with your values, not discovered in moments of sudden, dramatic insight. Think about it this way. Our sources show that people who volunteer consistently report higher levels of purpose than those who spend hours just journaling about their life's mission. Or consider someone diligently learning guitar. Just for the sheer love of music, they often find more genuine meaning than someone analyzing their personality type for the 15th time, trying to intellectualize their way into purpose.
Right.
The secret, as you just said, is starting before you're ready. Starting before you even know where it's going. Approaching it with curiosity instead of demanding certainty. An iterative process.
That's such a powerful reframing.
Yeah.
Meaning through action. So, okay, let's get practical. What are the first concrete steps our listeners can take to start this building process based on what the sources say?
Well, one of the most direct paths is through connection and contribution. Our sources show something fascinating here. It's not just that helping others feels good, although it does, but the act of contribution itself can be a primary driver of meaning. It's almost like a positive feedback. It's less about the grand gesture, and more about consistently investing in the collective, which perhaps unexpectedly amplifies your personal sense of purpose.
I really appreciate that distinction. It's not about grand gestures or some kind of self-sacrifice, but about recognizing our well-being is deeply interwoven with others. So for practical application, how do we start showing up for someone else in a way that truly sparks meaning, beyond just like network?
Yeah, good question. The fastest way seems to be through actual human connection and contribution, but done not for personal. This could be as simple as, say, texting a friend who's going through a tough time, or volunteering one Saturday morning at a local organization, helping a neighbor with their groceries, maybe even mentoring someone younger than you in a skill you possess. Research from organizations like the Corporation for National and Community Service consistently shows that people who volunteer, they live longer, healthier, happier lives. And why? Well, likely because when you see the direct, tangible impact of your actions on someone else's life, meaning becomes immediate, it becomes real, you see that you matter.
And the key here sounds like consistency, even with small actions. Like an hour a week for a month will probably do far more for your sense of purpose than one intense, all-consuming weekend project.
Exactly.
The real magic happens with that profound, often quiet realization, what I do genuinely matters. My actions have an impact on other people. And if formal volunteering feels overwhelming right now, start informally. That makes sense too. Answer a question on a forum where you have expertise, help a coworker with a project, maybe just leave an encouraging comment for someone online. These small, repeated acts sound like the foundational bricks of meaning.
That's a great way to put it. Foundation. And next, we need to get you moving in a direction that's authentically yours. And this starts with Clarifying your value, not just your goal.
Okay, let's zero in on that. The distinction between values and goals. Our sources really emphasize they're fundamentally different things. Think of goals as like destinations, places you want to get to, specific achievement. Values, on the other hand, they're like your compass, right? Guiding principles for how you want to travel, the kind of person you want to be on that journey. So, for example, if freedom is a core value for you, that might lead to various goals, like starting your own business, or learning a new language to travel, or even simplifying your life to reduce obligation. If creativity is a value, well, it could mean painting, writing, cooking, or even just finding innovative ways to solve problems at work.
Exactly. So here's a simple exercise suggested by our material. Take a moment, maybe even right now, to just list 5 values that, when you're living them, make you feel most like yourself. Don't overthink it. What truly energizes? What kind of person do you genuinely aspire to?
Okay.
Now, here's the critical part. Pick one tiny goal that aligns with just one of those values and commit to doing it. We're not talking about some life-changing goal here. Think of it as a Tuesday afternoon goal.
A late agreement sound.
Right.
Small.
Very small. If creativity is your value, spend 1 hour this week on any creative activity. Doesn't matter. If learning is your value, watch one educational video or read one chapter of a book that genuinely interests. If health is your value, maybe just go for one walk this week where you actually pay attention to your surroundings rather than just rushing through it. The power isn't in the grandness of the activity. It's in the alignment. That alignment between what you do and what truly matters. Even small alignments can create a powerful sense.
Now, here's an insight that might sound a little stark at first, but I think it's actually incredibly liberating when you sit with it. Your struggles aren't just meaningless obstacles. They're actually raw material for building meaning.
Indeed, yeah. We can look to figures like Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist. He found profound resilience by discovering meaning even in immense suffering within Nazi concentration camp. Now, this isn't about romanticizing pain at all, but it's about recognizing that how we choose to respond to unavoidable difficulty, that can become a powerful source of purpose.
Oh, so?
It means asking yourself questions like, okay, how has this difficulty, what has it taught? How might this experience help me understand or support others? Sure. Maybe your own struggles with anxiety, for example, have taught you deep empathy for others facing mental health challenges. Or perhaps a career failure forced you to genuinely reevaluate what you truly care about, ultimately shifting your path in a more meaningful direction. Or maybe a relationship ending, though incredibly painful, clarified what you truly need in a partnership going forward.
So the meaning isn't in the pain itself.
Exactly. It's in what you choose to do with it, how you integrate it into your story. Many of the most purposeful people you find, they don't deny their wounds. They actually use them to inform their message and their service to the world, turning their mess into their message, so to speak. So to try this yourself, maybe pick one difficult experience you've been through. Now spend just a few minutes reflect. Try writing down maybe 3 distinct ways it changed you, or 3 profound lessons it taught you. Those insights you uncover, those are powerful seeds of meaning just waiting to be cultivated.
All these steps are fantastic. The connection, the values, finding meaning and struggle.
Yeah.
But it begs a really fundamental question. How do we even begin to implement any of this if we're feeling utterly drained, completely running on empty? So what does this all mean for your foundational well-being?
Right. It's simple, almost revolutionary in its simplicity. You cannot build lasting meaning on a shaky foundation of chronic exhaustion, poor physical health, and isolation.
You just can't.
You can't. It sounds almost too basic maybe, but our sources continually circle back to this. Your physical and mental well-being, they aren't just nice to have. They are the preconditions for, if you're consistently running on 4 hours of sleep, surviving on caffeine and processed food, and haven't really moved your body, your capacity for meaning is severely limited. And it's not because you're weak, it's because your mind and body are so profoundly connected.
Yeah.
What some experts call meaning depletion often occurs when our most fundamental needs are chronically unmet. So, decent sleep, regular movement, maybe some time in nature, real nourishing. These aren't just good habits. They're the essential bandwidth for purpose to even register in you. And look, this isn't about perfection at all. It's about giving yourself enough fuel to truly engage the world. And the final, really crucial piece here is understanding that it's built through patience, not urgency. You know, the more desperately you try to find it, the more it tends to just slip away.
Like that sleep analogy again?
Exactly. Think of building, meaning more like tending a garden. You plant seeds through these small, meaningful actions we've talked about. You water them consistently by regularly engaging with your values, and then you wait. You have to wait. Some seeds will sprout quickly, others will take time, and some, frankly, just won't grow at all. And that's perfectly okay. You just plant new ones. The key is showing up to tend the garden without demanding that everything bloom at once.
And crucially, it sounds like many people experience meaning not as some sudden flash like lightning, but as a gradual recognition over time.
That's very common, yes.
Like one day you might realize, I felt genuinely used. Another day, I was truly excited about that project I worked or a conversation I had with my friend. Really, and these small moments, they string together, forming this rich, evolving narrative of purpose. But it happened through living, through doing, not just back there. So wow, we've covered, peel back the layers, and maybe more importantly, how you can actually start. It's not about some grand quest for discovery, about an act, connecting with others, aligning your daily choice, finding purpose, critically fortifying your foundation.
Right. And this raises, I think, an important question for carry forward from what's the very first small step right after? Don't try to solve your entire. Pick one tiny act, something that aligns with ConnectCon or just one value. Maybe spending an hour or helping one person. Remember the path, not by staring